Hello everyone, my name is Brittany Thomas, and this is my individual report of the Venus of Willendorf. First, I'd like to discuss the history of the era in which Venus of Willendorf is from. She is from the Paleolithic era, and this era is divided into two divisions, the lower and the upper. Lower is said to be 2.5 to 200,000 years ago, and is basically defined by their tools that were discovered from this area, and it is primarily their tools are made of wood and bone. The upper division is said to begin about 40,000 years ago, and this is where Venus of Willendorf is from, and she's dated between 23,000 and 25,000 years ago. And in this upper division of the Paleolithic era, we see a complexity in their tools, so a lot of stone tools, and we see a rise of regional art. So a lot of cave paintings are from this era, and a lot of small sculptures. Another thing that we should consider in regards to looking at the Venus of Willendorf is the living conditions in which people lived during this era. It was during the Ice Age, so settling in one area for a long period of time wasn't feasible, so a lot of moving around with weather temperature changes, and then they were hunter and gatherers, so food sources varied, whether plentiful or not enough. And it is said that during this era that there's a fear of extinction, so procreation and survival were very adamant and prominent. Next, I'd like to talk about the discovery of the Venus of Willendorf. To the right, you can see a map of Austria, and this is where she was found, near Willendorf, Austria, in 1908 by archaeologist Joseph Zambathy. And right now, currently, she is in the Natural History Museum in Vienna. To the left, you can see the beautiful picture of the Venus of Willendorf. And right now, I'd like to bring in the two controversies of this sculpture. First is the name itself. It is said that upon discovery, they just gave her the name Venus, due to her certain characteristics of her. As you can see, she has enormous breasts, a big abdomen, thick thighs, a very well painted, carved genitalia. They believe she was a goddess of fertility. Well, from the time that she was found and throughout the history from there, there's been that debate of, is she really a goddess, which is what Venus stands for, or was she just a sculpture that portrayed women from this era, or was this society matriarchal, meaning that basically women were very high on social standing. So that's a debate in her name, so that's why Venus of Willendorf can go either way, from Venus of Willendorf to Woman of Willendorf, and for purposes for this, we're going to stick with Venus of Willendorf. So like mentioned before, the purpose is controversy. We don't know so much about this era in regards to who sculpted it and their sole meaning behind it. Material used to make her, limestone, and this particular limestone, if you look closely enough, you'd see a navel on her, or a belly button, but it's not carved. It's actually a indent in the rock. It is said that they believe that whoever created it picked this rock specifically for the indent because it shows that it's a link to creation of life. This particular piece was carved in a sculpture in the round kind of technique, basically meaning that she is three-dimensional. And in order to get some of the fine-tuning designs on her, like her headpiece, the hands that are placed around the top of her breasts, it's said that the sculptor must have had to use a very thin, pointy stone to get in there and carve the crevices out. Also, on the genitalia area, there's red painting, which is called red ochre, and it's natural iron oxide that comes from clay. This kind of red ochre, animal fat, things like that, that's what was primarily used in painting during these eras. Composition and formal elements. I want to get into some of the specific details in regards to her. Her headpiece is one of them. It's a controversy whether it's actually hair or just an elaborate hairpiece. It has 7 braid-like swirls to it, and it covers the face. There's no face on the Venus of Willendorf. Like I said before, the sculptor carved small arms, and the hands can be seen on the apex of her enormous breasts. The reason for placing this can go back to the fertility. Abdomen is very big, and like I said, it goes back to the fertility versus portrait idea. She has no feet, so she can't stand on her own. And mind you, this is a small piece, so she's only 4 to 5 inches, so they don't know if she was to be held in someone's hand during a ritual, a doll for someone. Like I said, it's very mysterious. And then also the painted genitalia, and this is said to maybe be resemblant of menstruation, which also goes back to the idea of fertility. Unfortunately, with how much limited information is based off this era, a lot of the information and reasoning behind who this sculptor was and the purpose, whether it was a portrait or merely the idea that they needed to procreate to save human society through the Ice Age, is very unknown and is still a mystery. Personally, I think that it is fertility. A fertility goddess, if you will, or a figurine in regards to fertility, only for a simple fact that there are different figurines found throughout certain parts of Europe that are said to be from this era, and a lot of them have the same features as the big breasts, big abdomen, kind of thing. So I think that she is for fertility. If you have any questions or any concerns, please feel free to comment, and I look forward to reading your comments. Thank you for your time.